This stream live. Welcome. And, well, if you're catching the replay and you have any suggestions, please comment below. If you like what we do, subscribe, hit that like button and that bell so that you're notified when we go live. If you want to keep on chatting, you can join us on Discord once the stream is done, and you can find the link in the description. So, starting with the crypto news today, our Korean friends are pushing the ball forward on regulations as Busan has declared a regulation-free zone for blockchain development by South Korean national government. A movement long expected, but now formalized. A total of 11 regulations have been lifted for the project, and it is expected that investors will move around 29.9 billion won, or approximately $25 million, into the region by 2021. The region won't be completely regulation free, however, ICOs will not be allowed. While the government move has been billed as an exemption from regulation, it is more like a control experiment with certain defined goals, and it's evolutionary rather than revolutionary, and fitting with Korea's general persistent suspicion of crypto. Uh, Moving on, Nexo claims that the Nexo card will be the first card in the world that will enable users to spend value of their cryptocurrency without in fact spending it, which is really awkward. Basically, what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you a credit line based on how much worth your crypto is. So the card does not consider annual, monthly, or foreign exchange fees, as it's being described right now in the operation. However, when using what Nexo says is when using the Nexo card to purchase goods and services, you actually pay using your Nexo flexible open-ended revolving credit line that is backed by your crypto holdings and thus not selling any of them, which is giving you the freedom to spend today and sell your holdings whenever you want in the future to pay back the loan. You don't really need to sell your holdings to pay back the loan. You can repay it back. However, you're putting your crypto as collateral, and I'm not sure whether or not many of you would want to do that. I wouldn't, but I mean, it gives you an option that your crypto you can use it, or in case you're in a tight spot, you could use it to finance something else. And I mean, I'm not sure how they're gonna deal with fluctuations in the market. It is uncertain. You have a credit line right now. You spend it, prices of crypto go down. What's gonna happen? I mean, you still own a fixed fiat amount, and now your crypto holdings are worth less. At what point in time are they gonna seize your holdings? There's many questions still to be answered. On other news, Walmart. Yeah, that Walmart, the big company that has taken over the U.S. shops and has made many mom and pop shops close their doors, is looking to move into the crypto market, or so says an article from CCN. Walmart's Walmart has laid groundwork to create its own cryptocurrency. Um, Basically, Walmart already plays a fundamental role in the money service industry in the U.S. and makes up a considerable part of the MoneyGram network. Yeah, that MoneyGram. The one that Ripple just acquired 30 million stake in. You gotta consider that Walmart also cashes checks for millions of regular working Americans and other services, including PayPal via its network of ATMs, and Walmart even has its own debit card. Well, apparently, Walmart has made a move to patent blockchain based stablecoin variant. So, what they're doing is they're maybe going to compete with Facebook Libra. I'm not sure yet. It's weird what they're doing. They're trying to do a stable coin. It's gonna help them move uh, money through some of their network. Yeah, it's not really clear where they're going with this. So there's a lot of speculation as to what Walmart's gonna do. However, if they do come on board with this, it does have a lot of potential because Walmart it's also not only in the U.S. just like Facebook is worldwide. Walmart is in a lot of countries. So maybe they're gonna try to do something where Walmart coin and be able to buy with it and purchase with it, send it to someone else so they can buy at Walmart. Who knows? There should be more information coming up sometime regarding this. On other news, the Justice Department in the U.S., has filed a civil lawsuit against a Russian-based digital currency exchange, BTCE, and Alexander Vinnik, one of its chief officers and operators. Prosecutors said that Vinnik and BTCE are charged with failing to register with the U.S. Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network as money service business, establishing anti-money laundering programs and procedures, or file suspicious activity reports. They argue that BTC laundered criminal proceeds over $4 billion. Vinnik was arrested in Greece, and the U.S. is requesting extradition. The lawsuit seeks to collect on fines levied 2 years ago by the U.S. Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and it's $88.5 million for BTCE and $12 million for Vinnik, both for violating the U.S. Bank Secrecy Act. So, how quickly are they going to be able to extradite him? Does the guy still hold the money? If the money's in BTC, are they going to get access to the wallet? Otherwise, how much jail time can he actually face for violating these laws? It's not stated in the article in detail. However, I'll figure out a way to get the links to you guys somehow. But moving on. For all our Brazilian traders, you might want to consider other options to trade your crypto, as the Brazilian tax authorities are actually cracking down and have imposed new requirements on crypto trading. Now, crypto traders in Brazil have to report their transactions to the National Treasury. The ruling is widely seen as a means for the government to increase tax revenue. It targets both private investors as well as companies that deal in crypto. And Brazil sees some of the highest cryptocurrency trading volumes in Latin America, topping nearly 100,000 Bitcoin in April. Now, failure to comply will result in sanctions, and information related to purchases, sales, and donations of crypto funds have to be submitted to the National Collection through the Virtual Service Center by the last working day of the month, basically. Again, it's another case where crypto's being sort of not regulated but taxed. But shouldn't they actually come up with regulation first and establish a framework and then move on to applying taxes to it? Yeah, they're just going over capital gains and not really doing anything to regulate the market. I mean, I would have expected at least some country to come up with regulations prior to taxing these assets, right? Well, moving on. On a recent published document, reveals that U.S. regulators plan to outsource running cryptocurrency nodes. The SEC plans to hire contractors to run specific crypto full nodes, and the nodes they're interested in for the time being are mainly for Bitcoin, Ripple, and Ethereum. They're doing this to monitor compliance risks. The other document, the document doesn't really explain precisely why the SEC wants to outsource the contracts to run these full nodes. However, maybe it's support efforts to monitor risk, improve compliance, and inform commission policy with respect to digital assets. I mean, is it good? Is it bad that they're going to have access to this information? Please, if you're watching, comment below or send us a comment on the live chat, you know. We'll be glad to discuss if that's one of the topics of interest. Now, regarding this, I mean, it might be something that sets up the framework for regulation. If the SEC is interested, they might be trying to do something, gauge volatility, something else, stability of the. They might want to consider security at some point in time, some of these crypto assets, and they just basically want to keep tabs on it. I don't know. Still more to be found out once they start implementing it. From CNBC, we have an article that I found to be quite interesting. Basically, what is stating is that Steve Bannon is going against what Trump said regarding Bitcoin. And he says that cryptocurrencies actually have a big future. he does go on to saying that he sees Facebook's Libra as being different, acting in principle more as a competitor to mobile payment systems, right? Like not like Bitcoin, but more like what Alibaba has with Alipay and what WeChat Pay has, Tencent has with WeChat Pay. And basically, he goes on saying that people need to confront this now and start looking because third world countries, the Chinese, third world countries, sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and sometimes South America, are looking to have alternative payment methods which could give them global dominance by uh, getting off the reserve or moving the reserves of U.S. dollar currency, right? So if a lot of countries have their currencies pegged to the U.S. dollar or hold dollars in reserves to sustain their economic, you know, reserves, right? So if countries start moving to other assets, like before the standard used to be gold, then once the gold standard was lifted, um, you start to get dollar floating freely. You have all these things where government can start printing cash easily, and if these countries stop holding dollars in their reserves and move towards other countries, other currencies, cryptocurrencies, or other methods of payment, it would really lower or the power of the U.S. dollar basically worldwide. So, I mean, does the U.S. need to catch up with regulations and start embracing it instead of fighting them? Yeah, I believe so. On another side note, apparently there was some random article that I found about a company called Bank Chain, which aims to be a payment method for the adult entertainment industry. I'm not even gonna go into it. I'm not gonna show it here, but I mean, if you guys want to look into it, it's weird. Apparently it'll be payment for the people in the adult entertainment industry. It'll be for companies, for entertainers, and it might be even like be accepted by sex workers, and they will be paid in the form of crypto, which again, it's also really awkward for I guess those transactions. Now the total market cap right now is sitting at around 280 billion, and it's a 1.01% increase at this point in time over yesterday's closing, which was about 2 or 3 hours ago, right? And Bitcoin, the heavyweight champion, still undisputed heavyweight champion, still dominating at 67.76, which is a 0.02% over yesterday's closing. But dominance has been increasing, slightly, but increasing this past couple of days. You can see it on the chart right now. On July 19th, we had the low of 65.59. Right now, we're sitting at 67, so about 2% increase, right? Um, and that means basically people are holding more Bitcoin than they're holding other cryptocurrency assets. Is it important to look at it? Yeah, I believe so. It does give us a feeling of how the market's behaving. People might be moving money from some assets into Bitcoin, or people might be just buying more Bitcoin and not purchasing other assets right now. So, what else do we have regarding Bitcoin? What did that one? Where did that one? Oh yeah, MIT. Yeah, and in a suck it news to Bitcoin naysayers, MIT AI Lab analyzed 203,769 Bitcoin nodes transactions, which is worth roughly 6 billion. And they only found that 2% of those transactions were illicit. 21% were identified as lawful, and the vast majority, 77%, remain unclassified. However, it does go on to show that Bitcoin is not being used to fund so many illegal activities as other media sources are telling us. And right now, I guess the point of the study was to explore whether or not artificial intelligence could assist in current anti-money laundering procedures, or to see if these assets are being used for illegal purposes, right? So now let's look really quickly at the Bitcoin chart, and we can see that we're still in a downtrend from I would say June 26th. However, in the short term, we are showing a bit of an uptrend, right? We see the small channel going up on the daily, and if we go into the 4 hours, we might be able to. I'm gonna look at another chart right now because this one doesn't show it, but in the this is a Gemini chart, but in the Coinbase chart, we will be able to see it. It's very slight, but there's some bullish sentiment developing, right? I mean, there's some very minor sloping on the MACD, and we're also seeing some small divergence in the RSI, right? I mean, here we were at 74.04 RSI, and look at where we're at in the Bitcoin, right? Is this candle right here from August the 1st? Still moving up, and we were dropping on the RSI, so, and we're dropping on the MACD, right? So we're getting a bit exhausted. So we might see a bit of a downturn, still unsure, but momentum does seem to be stopping, right? Now let's move on to the Ethereum chart. I looked at the Ethereum news today. It was nothing really worth reporting. So let's move on to Ethereum. Let's look at it on the daily first. And basically on the short term, we can see that Ethereum's basically moving sideways, right? There's not a lot going on. If we go into the 4 hours, we might be able to see something. And we see some divergence on the MACD. I mean, prices are going up, momentum slowing, even though we're going higher. But the RSI still shows convergence, right? Momentum going up on the RSI, and prices going up. Trading sideways could take a long time. We'll see how this develops. There's not much to do with this chart right now. Now, on to XRP. There's actually some news regarding XRP, and I think it's this one. So, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency asset manager Grayscale Investments was planning to move billions of dollars worth of holdings to an XRP US crypto wallet, right? And it was moving to the platform of Coinbase. What could be one of the largest single day transfers for Bitcoin and crypto assets ever. Grayscale, which claims to be the world's largest Bitcoin and digital currency asset manager, was announcing that Coinbase Custody will serve as custodian for the underlying assets for its products, and is expected to transfer $3 billion worth of assets. That's a lot of money worth of assets, guys. And I'm not sure how good Coinbase is going to be as custodian, but I really do hope it works out, because, man, that would really start setting precedent for a lot of these investment companies to be able to rely on these exchanges, and well, not mainly the exchange, but the custodian services from these exchanges, which we might see some more volumes trading, because these investment companies do want to see some money move, right? So they're going to put in an exchange. That will create volume and volatility on that exchange, which in turn could bring higher prices, if not lower. However, it would for sure bring some volatility. At the time of the article came out, this was at 9 in the morning, and I haven't seen anything else. So if you've seen any news whether or not this transaction went through and it's taking place, if you want to share a link, we'll gladly look at it. You can put it in the description, or you can put it in the chat, or in the comments below. Sorry. And alarming a lot of people today was a large transfer of XRP, right, from one of the escrow accounts, and it was mistaken as a well dump. A lot of people start freaking out. I think this was yesterday, actually, that the transaction happened on August the 1st. And, man, Twitter went crazy. A lot of people were saying, oh, man, it's going to be a pump and dump. Ripple's doing it again. You know, it's one of those pump and dump schemes. And a lot of people failed to realize that XRP or Ripple is not dumping, right? You gotta remember they introduced some predictability to the XRP supply, and Ripple created the escrow accounts, and they published a document in December 2017 stating that 55 billion XRP, or 55% of the total possible supply, was locked into a series of escrows. The escrows were placed on Ripple's own ledger and are controlled by the ledger mechanics. Every month, a total of 1 billion XRP is released from the escrows to provide an upper limit to the amount of the new XRP that can be brought into circulation. The releases were set to go on for 55 months and should expire in mid 2021. Once the month concludes, the unused XRP would go back into the escrow and will be distributed in the next release again. So at the end of the month, put it back, take it back out, right? So they're just doing it to have supply of XRP in the market. It's not a pump and dump. It's just a way to move all those XRPs in a controlled manner into the market without flooding it and dumping it. So guys, chill. There's too much paranoia going on in the market, right? No one's making major Ripple dumps. Just stay calm. Now let's look really quick at the XRP chart. Let's look at the daily and try to figure out what's going on with XRP. I think it's one of those things that it's also not doing much. It was in an uptrend, no longer. I mean, we fell out of it on this wedge, broke out of it, scrubbly, back tested it, and then we're developing what looks to be like a triangle, maybe. I mean, I'm not really sure yet. Need more for the pattern to develop right now. Let's look at this. There is some sort of divergence, I guess, developing, or convergence. You see the volume during July the 20th and where we're sitting at on the RSI, and you can tell, right? I mean, we're high, and we're going. As we start to go down on the price, we are resetting a little bit of the oscillator, right? We're starting to reset the RSI. Is it good? Is it bad? Right now, it's not really doing much. It's kind of like doing what Ethereum is doing. It's trading a bit sideways, but still waiting for that pattern to develop and see where it's gonna explode to. Let's look at the 4-hour and see what's going on. In the 4-hour, we can certainly see that we're having bullish, bearish all over the place, right? Price is going down, MACD is also going down. Momentum seems to be stopping at right now, but not quite. And the RSI was also going down, right? So let's see where this goes. We might go up, test the upper portion of this triangle, and we might get rejected. We might not. We're about to hit the 20 MA. So let's see where we go from there. Apparently, we kind of went really close to touching it and we're rejected. So let's see where that leads, right? Moving on to an LTC news. Yeah, there's hype over the Litecoin's halving event. A lot of people are going nuts about the halving event. What's gonna happen? Lots of speculation. This article from Bloomberg's says that what was supposed to be a surefire way to drive up the cryptocurrency, Litecoin, Litecoin's prices is at risk of quickly turning into a liability. Hype around Litecoin's so-called halving has been trumpeted as a catalyst for reduction of future supply, helping more than quadruple its price this year. But as the event itself has neared, investors have turned sour on the fourth largest digital token, pushing it down 18% this last month. Now, I do not believe it has been that. We also have to remember that Bitcoin went down really hard, and a lot of these altcoins do what Bitcoin does, so they follow, right? Does it have something to do with the halving? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't bank 100% on it. I would also put a lot of weight into the fact that Bitcoin went down hard. So the halving, which Litecoin founder Charlie Lee said was supposed to take place on August 4th or 5th, cuts the number of Bitcoins awarded by 50%, awarded to the miners by 50%. right? So miners are gonna get paid less for mining these blocks. So they're gonna go from 25 cents to 12.5 cents, right? So and that's gonna happen when block 1.68 million is reached. And like I said, it's supposed to be the fourth or fifth. What's really gonna happen? It's uncertain. I mean, this was meant for fewer Litecoins to be created, lowering the rate of inflation on the network, giving more value to each coin. However, will miners get demotivated from the lower hash rate they're gonna get from this? I mean, the last Litecoin halving took place in August 25th, 2015, at block 840,000. And a month beforehand, the price of Litecoin jumped 250%, but the gains also went down really hard once the rewards came. So that led to the price being flatlining for months. I'm not 100% sure what's gonna happen here with this. Will history repeat itself? You guys think it's gonna go down? Comment on the chat or below. Looking at the XRP, going on to the LTC chart, we can see that momentum. We're getting some bearish signals here as well. Prices going up, and having these prices going up, we can see it clearly from the 31st of July to the 1st of August at 11 a.m. But MACD was going down, and even though we were making higher highs, the RSI was going down. So, I mean, we're getting signals that we were going to go down. We are going down. We're starting to bounce up a little bit. Let's look at the daily. We're looking at the 4 hours, and now we can see that we're basically doing a bit of sideways trading. Not much. I mean, sloping a little bit, or down sloping a little bit. So it could even be a channel, man. Let me try this real quick. So let's go here and do that's not on this one. It's in this one. Parallel channel. Here we go. So from here to here and here maybe, and let's correct this a little bit and bring this one down. Yeah, there we go. So we're basically on a downsloping channel right now, and this on the daily. I would again say let's wait for pattern to develop, look for breakout. But right now the signals are not stating that we might be bullish. If anything, we're losing momentum, so we might go down a little bit. Bitcoin goes up, we might go up, but it's still uncertain. Right now, let's move on to some Binance news, and Binance is actually it's pretty cool. Binance Coin is gonna go into a Russian and Ukrainian markets, and they're gonna be able to quote in the Kuna exchange, right? And they're gonna be paired as BNB against the ruble and BNB against the Ukrainian Hryvnia. So, can this be good for Binance? Yeah, maybe. I mean, Russia's a big market, so and I don't know if Russians were into the Binance exchange, but having the BNB coin being available in other exchanges would certainly bring a lot more people into the market. You got to remember, BNB was one of the best performers this year. Went up from $4 a coin last year to almost $40 a coin this year. So, I mean, yeah, it's a big gain. For sure, it was around 6 times gain. So, we're going to look at the chart in a little bit to see that swing. But, Binance Chain has been trying to diversify its user base and services to cover as much ground as possible. Now, the hostility from the regulators in the US has forced some crypto companies to look elsewhere to fulfill gap in demand. And Russia could be the answer. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, it's a good thing for the cryptos. It's a bad thing for the dollar because a lot of money will probably gonna flow into Russia instead of into the US to be able to purchase this crypto. Now, if exchanges were to leave the US, as I think one exchange left yesterday to the Bahamas, or recently to the Bahamas, Um, think about it. All that money is flowing elsewhere, right? You lose control of the information. You lose control of the money, and all those jobs get created elsewhere. So you're also losing job market. There are jobs that could be created locally. Is it? I personally think it's a bad thing that companies are flying elsewhere. You know, they should try to regulate it, make it friendly for them at first, get them to come in, and then start taxing and doing everything they want, but bring them in first. You know, and you have to do it with open arms. Um, Now, Binance is also on June 16, Binance gave the Quantum project a double B rating, basically, and this rating simply means that the technical feasibility is good, and the risk for the project is moderately controllable. And today, Binance announced that it will be launching support for quantum staking starting, well, yesterday, August 1st. So even though actually this article is from yesterday, it came in today's news report. So yeah, Binance, if you wanna stake quantum, you can go ahead now. And in other news, and I think it's funny, this one's also from yesterday, and it got repeated a couple times today by other media sources. The Binance CEO, Changpeng Zhao, believes that Donald Trump will buy into Bitcoin despite what he's saying, right? Despite his lack of decentralized currency. I'm sure that after Trump retires, he will go into crypto. Right now, without retiring, he's in a position that he should not promote crypto over the US dollar. These are the words that Changpeng Zhao said regarding what he believes Trump will do, right? And I'm not. First of all, it's not when he retires; it's when he stops serving as president, right? But I'm pretty sure he will definitely buy some crypto, especially if this gets regulated and you can start seeing it being exchanged. At some point in time, if it becomes really popular and hotels start taking crypto and it's being widely accepted in other places, he does hold. He has hotels, he has Trump Tower, and he has all these other businesses. At some point in time, he will have to start taking crypto. Otherwise, he's going to be left out of the game, right? So, Mr. Zhao also stated that President Trump, is a very smart businessman. I think he'll get it, right? And I agree. No one's disgusted by money. No one's fighting with money all the time. No one's saying I don't want money. But like I said, when he becomes regulated and accepted, it will be more likely that he will get into it, right? So now let's look really quick at the Binance chart to see where things are. And the only Binance chart I have is from Binance, right? So right now we can see we're in a downtrend. Now I'm not sure if we can call this a triangle or a wedge yet, but we're trading down, right? And the jump I was telling you earlier, it's here, right? We're looking at right here. I think it was the low point. So we're looking at $4.66, right? And the high point we went to, yeah, it's this one, $43. So actually we went over 40, right? So it was almost a 10-time gain, right? So if we would have gone at $3 more up, for sure would have been a 10 times gain. So one of the best performances this year, right? Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Notice on the chat someone said lag. I'm not sure how much lag I have, but it is definitely because I'm connected over the Wi-Fi. I want to thank a couple people for making this stream possible. My brother, Miguel, he hooked me up with the logo and helped me design the layout. My wife for all the support. And Mitch Ray, actually, because I chatted with him prior to starting this stream. He's actually my first subscriber, and I asked him if I could borrow some of his disclaimers, and he said yes. So thanks, Mitch. Thanks, Miguel, and thanks, wife. Love you all. Thanks for watching live. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you believe that the content that we produce is of value and of interest to you or your colleagues and friends, introduce them to this channel. Bring them in. We want to create a community. We hope that this brings positive impact. We don't believe in the FUD. We're going to try to offset the news, what's going on against the FUD and all that negative news with some positive news. Not we're gonna be over optimistic, but we're gonna try to be balanced and at least bring you both sides so you can make more informed decisions as to what you want to do with your money. Right? It's your decision how you invest. Do it wisely. We're just here to provide entertainment, news, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.